Day 366. I'm looking at the calendar I scratched into the drywall with a screwdriver. 365 marks. 1 full year. The date at the top says March 14th. But I don't know if that's still accurate because I might have missed a day or two back in July when the fever had me. Doesn't matter much. The world ended and I'm still breathing, and that's about all the measuring that counts now. My name is Gordon Petrie, 52 years old. Used to work IT at an insurance company in Boise. Had an ex-wife named Tricia, who got the house in Meridian, and I got weekends with my daughter Lily, who's 16 now, or maybe 17, depending on whether her birthday already passed. I don't know if they're alive. I don't think about it most days, because thinking about it makes my hands shake, and I need my hands steady. I was a prepper. Not the crazy kind you see on TV with the gas masks and the rants about government conspiracies. Just the practical kind. The kind who remembered Hurricane Katrina and the Texas freeze and thought, yeah, maybe having some extra rice and a way to filter water isn't such a bad idea. I had a blog about it, called it Reasonable Readiness, which Tricia said was the most boring name she'd ever heard, but that was kind of the point. I wasn't selling freeze-dried astronaut food or bunkers. I was selling the idea that normal people should have a plan. My plan worked. Mostly. I'm in a house in the north end of Boise. Not my house. Mine was the apartment near Franklin, which was way too exposed when things went bad. This place belonged to a guy named Kenneth Rourke, who I found in the garage hanging from a roof beam on day 3. I cut him down and buried him in the backyard next to his dog, which was already dead from what looked like starvation, or maybe it ate something bad. The note he left said he couldn't handle the screaming from outside. Said his wife turned on day 1 and attacked him, and he locked her in the basement, and then he just couldn't. The note apologized to someone named Maureen, but I never found out who that was. Kenneth's house is perfect for this. 2-story. Brick, small windows, reinforced garage door that I've bolted from inside. Basement with the only entrance through the kitchen, which I can barricade in about 40 seconds if I need to. Attic access. Fence around the backyard that I've reinforced with sheets of corrugated metal I pulled off a collapsed shed 4 houses down. And most important, Kenneth was a prepper too. Yeah, not as organized as me, but he had the instinct. His basement had shelves of canned goods and vacuum-sealed bags of rice and beans. He had a water filtration system. He had a rainwater collection barrel outside that I've maintained. He had weapons. That's how I made it this far. The first day was March 14th last year. I was at work. The news had been talking about some kind of aggressive flu outbreak in Seattle for maybe 3 days, but nobody was panicking yet. We'd all lived through swine flu and Ebola scares, and nothing ever really happened to us here in Idaho. Then Valerie from accounting came in late, and she looked wrong. Sweating, eyes not tracking right. She bit Dennis in the break room. Just walked up to him while he was microwaving leftover lasagna and bit into his shoulder through his shirt. The sound was what I remember most, not his screaming. The sound of her teeth meeting through the meat. Security came. They pulled her off. Dennis was bleeding everywhere, and someone called 911, but the line just rang and rang. Then Valerie got back up, even though security had tackled her hard enough that her head bounced off the tile and there was blood coming from her ear. She got up and her eyes were clouded over like milk, and she made this sound. This wet, rattling sound. And she went for security guard Todd and got his throat before anyone could react. I ran. I'm not proud of that, but I'm alive because of it. I ran to the stairwell instead of the elevator. I ran to my truck in the parking garage. I drove home, and I loaded everything from my preparedness supplies into the truck bed. The food, the water filters, the first aid kit, the radio, the solar charger, The weapons, which were a Glock 19 I'd bought after a break-in scare 5 years ago, and a Remington 870 shotgun my dad gave me that I'd never fired. I loaded it all in maybe 20 minutes, while the radio in the kitchen was saying to stay indoors and avoid contact with anyone showing symptoms of aggression or fever. Then I tried to call Lily. Her phone went to voicemail. I tried Trisha. Same thing. I tried 4 more times while I was throwing clothes into a duffel bag. And then I got in the truck and I started driving toward Meridian because they were my family even if we weren't together anymore. I didn't make it. The roads were packed. Everyone had the same idea. Get to family. Get out of the city. The interstate was a parking lot. I sat there for 2 hours watching people abandon their cars and run on foot. And I watched a woman pull her kids out of a minivan and sprint across the median, dragging them behind her. I watched a man in a suit have a heart attack or a panic attack in the car next to me, and nobody stopped to help him. Then I saw them coming up the line of stopped cars. The infected. Moving in this jerky way like their bodies weren't working right anymore. There were dozens of them. They were pulling people out of cars. I heard the screaming get closer. I put the truck in reverse and drove on the shoulder backwards until I could swing around, and I went north instead of west. Away from Meridian. Away from Lily and Trisha. I told myself I'd circle back. I told myself I'd find another route. I never did. By nightfall, the radio was just emergency broadcast tones. By the next morning, the power was flickering. I was already at Kenneth's house by then. I'd remembered it because Kenneth commented on my blog once. We'd emailed back and forth about water storage. He'd invited me to see his setup, and I'd said maybe sometime and never followed through. But I remembered his address, 4847 Riddenbaugh Street. I remembered because Riddenbaugh was my grandmother's maiden name, and it stuck in my head. I broke in through a back window, found Kenneth in the garage, found his wife in the basement, and she wasn't dead yet. She was tied to a support pole with electrical cord, and she was snapping at the air, and her wrists were raw where she'd been pulling against the cord. I shot her in the head with the Glock, and the sound in that enclosed space made my ears ring for 6 hours. That was day 3. Now it's day 366, and I'm still here. Why, the infected don't think. I learned that fast. They hear sound and they move toward it. They see movement and they chase it. But they can't problem solve. They can't open doors unless the door's already ajar, and they kind of fall through. They can't climb. I watched one trying to get up a ladder someone left leaning against a garage, and it just kept grabbing the rungs and falling backwards. They're persistent, though. They'll stand at a door and push against it for hours. Days, even. I had 3 of them standing at the back fence, pushing against the same spot until the wood started to splinter, and I had to go out there at night and quietly hammer extra supports across the inside. They rot. Slower than you'd think, but they do rot. The ones from the first week are falling apart now. Missing chunks. Bones showing through. But they keep moving as long as the brain is intact. I've seen one with no lower jaw dragging itself across a yard. I've seen one with both legs gone pulling itself forward with its arms. The smell used to make me vomit, but I don't notice it much anymore. It's just the smell of outside now. Food was easy at first. Kenneth's supplies, then careful runs to nearby houses. I'd go out at dawn when the infected are slower. Something about the cold, maybe, or the lack of stimulus overnight, makes them sluggish for a few hours after sunrise. I'd move quiet. I'd avoid streets. I'd go through backyards and over fences. I'd hit a house and take what I could carry and get back before full light. I got good at it. There was a grocery store 6 blocks south that I thought about for months before I tried it. Too risky, too open. But by month 4, my supplies were getting thin, and I needed to take chances. I went at night during a rainstorm because the rain masks sound, and the infected seem confused by it. They stand there with their heads tilted back like they're trying to understand what's hitting them. The store had been looted, but not thoroughly. People went for the obvious stuff. Bread, which was molded. Milk, which was rancid. Canned soup, which was mostly gone. But they missed things. I found 40 pounds of rice in the back storage area. I found cases of energy drinks. I found spices which don't seem important until you've been eating plain boiled rice for 2 months and you'd kill for some garlic powder. I found vitamins. I found dog food, which I tried once when I was desperate. And it's not as bad as you'd think if you fry it with some oil. Costa made 6 trips to that store over 3 weeks, each time taking a different route, never establishing a pattern. That's how you survive. No patterns. No routines they can predict, even if they can't really predict anything because they're too far gone for that. Water was harder. The taps ran for maybe 2 weeks, and then nothing. I had Kenneth's rain barrel. I had a filtration system. I had bleach for purification. But you need so much water. Drinking, cooking, washing. I cut back on washing. I haven't showered in a year. I wipe down with a wet cloth every few days. I smell like sweat and old clothes, and I don't care. There's a creek about a mile east. I've gone there 4 times with a cart I made from a kid's wagon and 5-gallon buckets. It's dangerous because it's open ground. But the water runs clean enough and I filter it and boil it, and I'm still alive, so it must be working. I garden now. Kenneth had some seeds in the garage. Tomatoes, lettuce, green beans. I planted them in the backyard in raised beds I built from fence boards. I used dirt from the compost pile Kenneth had going, which was full of worms, and that seemed like a good sign. The plants grew. I harvested. It's not enough to live on, but it's supplements. Fresh food, vitamins, something to do with my hands. I have chickens. That sounds crazy, but it's true. I found them on day 78, wandering loose in someone's yard 3 streets over. 4 hens. I caught them with a fishing net and carried them back in a plastic storage bin. They live in Kenneth's shed. I feed them scraps and grain I found in a feed store. They lay eggs. Not every day, but enough. Protein, fat. The yolk is so yellow it's almost orange, and the first time I fried one, I almost cried because I'd forgotten food could taste like something. The infected don't bother the chickens. I don't know why. Maybe chickens don't register as food. Maybe they don't make enough noise. One hen got out once, and I watched from the window as she pecked around the front yard with 2 infected standing 15 feet away, not reacting. She wandered back to the shed on her own eventually. I call the chickens Margaret, Susan, Dorothy, and Bee. Not because I'm lonely. Just because it's easier than saying the brown one or the one with the weird foot. The nights are the hardest. That's when the thoughts come. That's when I think about Lily and wonder if she's one of them now. Wonder if she's standing in some street somewhere with milky eyes and broken fingernails from clawing at doors. Wonder if Trisha managed to keep her safe. Wonder if they made it out of Boise. Wonder if anywhere is safe. I have a radio. Shortwave. I listen every night. Mostly it's static. Sometimes I get number stations which are probably automated. Sometimes I get preachers broadcasting about the end times like this is all part of some plan. On day 112, I got a transmission from someone claiming to be in a National Guard outpost near Twin Falls. They said they had a secure perimeter. They said they were taking survivors. They gave coordinates. I thought about going. I thought about it for 3 days. Then the transmission stopped and I never heard it again. On day 203, I heard a woman on the radio. She was crying. She was saying she was alone, and she was running out of food, and could anyone hear her? She gave her location, somewhere in Ontario. I wrote it down. I didn't respond because I didn't want to give away my position. I listened for her for 2 weeks. She never came back on. I don't transmit. I only listen. The infected aren't the only danger. I learned that on day 91. I was in the backyard checking the tomato plants when I heard voices from the front of the house. Real voices. Human. I looked through the upstairs window and saw 3 men in the street. They were armed. They were checking houses. Not for supplies. They were looking for people. I could tell by the way they moved, by the way they kicked in doors and shouted inside. I hid in the attic. I stayed silent. Then I heard them break into Kenneth's house through the front door. I heard them moving through the rooms below. One of them said something about the basement, and another one laughed. They were down there for maybe 10 minutes. Then I heard them leave. When I came down, I found they'd taken some of my canned goods. Maybe 30 cans. They'd left the rest. They'd urinated on Kenneth's couch. There was a dead infected in the living room that they must have brought in and killed because it wasn't there before, like a message. I reinforced the doors after that. I put furniture behind them. I slept with the shotgun next to me. I saw them again on day 119. 4 of them this time. Different group, or same group bigger. They had a truck and they were loading it with stuff from houses, furniture, electronics, which don't work anymore. But maybe they think they will eventually. I watched from the attic. They didn't come to Kenneth's house this time. They hit the house across the street and 2 doors down. I don't trust other survivors. That's a rule now. The weather changed everything. Summer was hard, the heat was brutal, over 100 degrees for weeks. The infected moved slower, but they didn't stop. I had to ration water. The garden suffered. 2 of the tomato plants died. I spent most of July in the basement where it was cooler. Winter was worse. The cold doesn't kill them. I thought it would. I thought maybe they'd freeze. But they just slow down. They keep moving. It snowed 14 inches in January, and I watched them wading through it like it was nothing. I had to insulate the windows with plastic sheeting. I burned furniture in the fireplace to stay warm. I wore every piece of clothing I owned at once. My teeth hurt. I think I have a cavity. I've been rinsing with salt water and hoping it doesn't get worse. I found some dental tools in a house on day 240, like the kind dentists use. I've been picking at the tooth with them, and I'm probably making it worse, but I don't know what else to do. I got sick on day 167. Fever, chills, vomiting. I thought I was infected. I thought this was it. But the infected turned fast, within hours. I was sick for 5 days, and then I got better. Probably just flu. Probably from drinking water that wasn't filtered enough or eating something that was starting to turn. I was weak for 2 weeks after. I could barely get up the stairs. That's when I realized how fragile this all is. If I break a leg, I'm dead. If I get a serious infection, I'm dead. If I'm too weak to defend myself, I'm dead. I exercise now. Push-ups, sit-ups. I run laps in the backyard when it's clear. I lift weights I made from buckets filled with rocks. I need to stay strong. There are animals. I've seen deer. I've seen coyotes. I've seen raccoons. The infected don't bother them either. Or maybe the animals are smart enough to avoid them. I tried to shoot a deer once with Kenneth's hunting rifle that I found in the bedroom closet. I missed. The sound brought infected from 3 streets over. I won't try that again. I caught a raccoon in a trap I made from chicken wire. I killed it with a hammer. I skinned it. I cooked it. It tasted gamey and tough, but it was meat. Real meat. I saved the pelt because I don't know, maybe I'll need it for something. The infected don't come in hordes like in the movies. They spread out. They wander. Sometimes I'll see one alone, just standing in the middle of the street, like it forgot what it was doing. Sometimes I'll see groups of 5 or 6 clustered around something. A sound, a movement, a bird that landed too close. There's one that walks past Kenneth's house every few days. Same one, I think. It's wearing a postal uniform. It's missing its left arm below the elbow. It walks the same route. Down Redenbaugh to the corner. Turn left. Out of sight. I don't know where it goes. I don't know if it's actually the same route or if I'm seeing patterns that aren't there. But I've started watching for it. Postal worker. That's what I call it. Postal worker makes its rounds, and the world is still ending. I found a cat on day 290. It was alive, uninfected, skinny, hiding under a porch. I put out some canned tuna. It came eventually. I let it in the house. It stayed for 3 days, and then it left through a window I'd left cracked, and I didn't see it again. I was sad about that. More than I expected. I read. Kenneth had books. Thrillers, mostly. Legal dramas, some westerns. I've read them all twice. There's a library 4 blocks west, but I haven't risked it. Too open. Too many ways to get trapped. But I think about those books sometimes. All that knowledge just sitting there rotting. I found photographs in Kenneth's bedroom. Him and a woman who must be his wife. Vacation photos. Beach somewhere. Mountains. They looked happy. I put them back in the drawer when it felt wrong to look at them. I've started talking to myself, out loud, just to hear a human voice. I'll narrate what I'm doing. Now I'm checking the rain barrel. Now I'm feeding the chickens. Now I'm reinforcing the fence. It makes me feel less alone, but also more crazy. On day 312, I saw smoke to the south. Big smoke, like a building burning. It lasted for 2 days. I don't know what it was. I don't know if someone started it on purpose or if it was an accident. The infected moved toward it. I watched from the roof. Hundreds of them, just walking south toward the smoke like pilgrims. When the fire burned out, they scattered again. I've marked the houses I've looted with a small X in chalk on the doorframe. Hard to see unless you know to look for it. That way, I don't waste time hitting the same place twice. I'm up to 47 houses now, running out of close options. Soon I'll have to range farther out, and that's more risk. There's a gunshot sometimes, far away, maybe once a month. I don't know if it's survivors fighting infected or survivors fighting each other or someone ending it. I don't investigate. I saw a dog on day 321, alive, a German Shepherd. It was in good shape. Healthy coat? It saw me and ran. I wonder if there are other survivors keeping pets. I wonder if that dog belonged to someone. The stars are brighter now. I noticed that around month 6. Less light pollution. I can see the Milky Way from the backyard. I used to take Lily camping and we'd look at stars and I'd try to show her constellations, but I only knew the Big Dipper and Orion. Now I see them every night, and I've learned more. Cassiopeia, Cygnus, Andromeda. I have Kenneth's star chart book. I study it. Something to do. I think about the future sometimes. If there is one, if this ever ends, if there's a cure, or if the infected all rot away eventually, if society rebuilds. What does that look like? Do we start over? Do we remember what we were? I don't know. I don't think I'll live to see it. My goal is just tomorrow. And then the day after that. String enough tomorrows together and maybe it means something. Day 366. I'm still breathing. The chickens are still laying. The garden is still growing. Kenneth's house is still standing. That's enough for now. The morning of day 367. I woke up to silence, and that's always wrong. There's always sound. The wind in the trees, birds, and the shuffling scrape of infected somewhere in the distance. But this was total silence. Heavy, like the air was holding its breath. I got up from the mattress on the bedroom floor. I keep the bed itself pushed against the door as a barricade. I moved to the window, peeked through the gap in the boards I'd nailed over it. The street was empty. No infected. Not even postal worker who's usually wandering by around dawn. Empty streets are dangerous. Means something drew them away. Means something is happening somewhere else. Means I need to be ready. I did my routine. Check all the entry points. Front door barricaded. Back door barricaded. Basement access blocked. Garage door secure. Windows covered and latched. Everything locked down. Then I ate breakfast. Can of peaches. Stale crackers I'd found in a cupboard 2 weeks ago. In a glass of filtered water. I ate slow because eating slow makes the food last longer in your head, even if it doesn't actually fill you more. The silence continued. I went up to the attic. There's a small vent up there that I can see through if I'm careful. It gives me a view of the neighborhood. North, I can see 4 streets. East, I can see the roof line of what used to be an elementary school. South, there's a water tower in the distance. West, there's just houses and trees. I scanned the area. Nothing moving, no smoke, no sounds, just empty. I didn't like it. By noon, the silence broke. I heard engines, multiple vehicles, coming from the east. I watched through the vent and saw them. A convoy, 5 trucks, big ones. Pickup trucks with cages welded onto the beds. They were moving slow down the main road, stopping at intersections. Men with guns standing in the truck beds scanning around them. This was organized. This was planned. I ducked back from the vent. My heart was pounding. Organized groups are worse than infected. Infected are predictable. People aren't. The trucks passed by heading west. I waited, listened. They didn't stop. The engine sounds faded. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. An hour later, I heard the gunfire. Automatic weapons. Long bursts. Coming from the west, where the trucks had gone. Then explosions. Small ones. Grenades, maybe. The gunfire continued for 20 minutes. Then silence again. I stayed in the attic. I watched. Around sunset, the trucks came back. Only 3 of them now. They were moving faster. The men in the backs looked tense. One truck had something in the cage. I couldn't see what. They passed by and kept going east. I didn't sleep that night. Day 368, nothing happened. I worked the garden. I fed the chickens. I boiled water. I reinforced a weak spot in the back fence. Normal routine. But I kept the shotgun with me. I kept listening. Day 369. I heard screaming, human screaming, coming from the north. Multiple voices. It lasted for maybe 2 minutes. Then it stopped. I didn't investigate. You don't investigate screaming. That's how you die. That afternoon, there was smoke again. Small column, a few streets over. It burned out by evening. Day 370, I found a handprint on the back fence. Fresh. The paint was smudged. Someone had touched it recently. I examined the ground outside the fence. Footprints, boot treads, multiple people, and they'd been right outside my perimeter. I checked the fence thoroughly. No breaches, no weak points. They'd just been passing through, maybe. Or they'd been checking, seeing what was here. I spent the rest of the day watching from different windows. I saw no one. Day 371, it rained. Heavy rain. I set out every container I had to catch it. Buckets, pots, bowls, free water. I stood in the backyard and let it soak me. First time I'd been properly wet in months. The rain was cold. It smelled like ozone. I stood there for 10 minutes, just feeling it hit my skin. When I came back inside, I saw movement in the street. I looked through the front window boards. There was a woman. She was stumbling. Not infected stumbling, hurt stumbling. She was holding her side, blood on her shirt. She was looking at the houses like she was trying to decide which one to approach. She saw Kenneth's house. She started toward the front door. I grabbed the shotgun. I moved to the door. She knocked 3 times. Weak knocks. "Please," she said. Her voice was rough, pained. "Please, I need help." I didn't answer. She knocked again. "I know someone's in there. I saw you in the yard, in the rain. Please." I stayed silent. This could be a trick. People use wounded as bait. Someone could be waiting nearby. "I'm alone," she said. "I'm not infected. I'm bleeding. I just need somewhere to sit down for a minute. Please." I looked through the peephole Kenneth had installed. She was maybe 30. Blonde hair matted with rain and blood. She was pressing her hand against her left side just above her hip. Blood was seeping between her fingers, and she looked behind her nervously. She was scared. I made a decision, probably a stupid one. I moved the bed from the door. I unlocked the deadbolt and the chain. I opened the door 6 inches with the shotgun pointed through the gap. "Hands where I can see them," I said. She raised her hands, winced with pain. Okay. Turn around, slow." She turned. No weapons visible, no backpack, nothing except the wound. "Who else is with you?" "No one, I swear. I got separated from my group. Please, I'm losing a lot of blood." I opened the door wider. "Inside, fast." She stumbled in. I shut the door behind her and locked it. She stood there swaying. Up close, she looked worse. Pale. Sweating despite the cold rain. The wound was still bleeding. "Sit." I pointed to a chair. She sat heavily. Thank you so much." I kept the shotgun on her. "What happened?" "We were attacked. Yesterday. There's a group. They have trucks, guns. They've been raiding camps, taking supplies, taking people." She pressed harder against the wound. "We tried to fight them off. Didn't work." "You alone now?" "Yes. Everyone else is dead or taken." I hid. Waited until they left. Started walking. Then I felt the bleeding start up again, and I couldn't anymore. I studied her. She could be telling the truth. The convoy I saw yesterday, the gunfire, the screaming, it fit. "Let me see the wound," I said. She lifted her shirt. There was a gash maybe 4 inches long just above her hip. Deep. Still bleeding, but not arterial. Probably from a knife or shrapnel. "I need to clean that," I said. "Yes, you need stitches." "You know how to do that?" "I've read about it. Never done it on a person." She laughed weakly. "Better than nothing." I got my first aid kit. I boiled water. I poured some of Kenneth's whiskey into a cup and made her drink it. She grimaced. I poured more over the wound. She screamed. I told her to bite down on a leather belt. I threaded a needle with fishing line because I didn't have medical suture. I cleaned the wound with boiled water and soap. Then I started stitching. She passed out halfway through. That made it easier. I finished the stitches. 12 of them. They were ugly and uneven, but they held. I bandaged the wound with clean cloth strips. I checked her pulse. Steady. I checked her pupils. Normal. She was just unconscious from the pain. I moved her to the couch, covered her with a blanket. And then I barricaded the door again and sat in a chair across from her with a shotgun in my lap. I didn't sleep. She woke up around midnight, groaned, looked around confused. "You're in my house," I said. "I stitched you up. Don't move too fast." She touched the bandage gingerly. "Thank you. I don't. Thank you." "What's your name?" "Beth." She looked at me. "What's yours?" "Gordon." "Gordon. Okay." She tried to sit up, winced. "How bad is it?" "Bad enough. You need to rest. You need to not tear those stitches." "How long can I stay?" There it was, the real question. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I don't know you. I don't know if you're telling the truth. I don't know if those people are looking for you." "They're not. They don't care about individuals. They care about groups, resources, and I'm nobody to them now." "Maybe." She looked around the room, saw the barricaded windows, the supplies stacked in the corner, the calendar marks on the wall. "You've been here a while." "A year." "Alone?" "Yes." That's a long time to be alone." I didn't respond. She laid back. "I won't be trouble. I just need a few days to heal. Then I'll go." "Where?" "I don't know. Somewhere. Anywhere that's not here." I watched her. She closed her eyes. Within minutes, she was asleep again. I stayed awake watching her until dawn. Day 372, Beth was still there. She slept most of the day. I changed her bandage once. The wound looked okay. No signs of infection yet. I gave her water. Gave her some rice with canned chicken. She ate slow. "You're a prepper," she said. Statement, not question. Was. Smart. Most people didn't think it could happen, even when it was happening. "You prepared?" She shook her head. "No, I was a teacher. 3rd grade. I had a classroom and students, and I thought about lesson plans and parent-teacher conferences. I didn't think about the end of the world." "Where were you when it started?" "School. The kids started getting sick. Then the parents came to pick them up, and some of them were sick too. It spread so fast. One of the kids bit another kid. Then it was chaos. I grabbed 3 students, and we hid in the supply closet. We stayed there for 2 days. When we came out, the school was empty except for the infected. The kids didn't make it. One got bit a week later, turned. The other 2 starved. I couldn't find enough food for all of us." Her voice was flat, dead. I stopped trying after that. Just survived for myself. We sat in silence. "This group that attacked you," I said. "Tell me about them." "They call themselves the Reclamation. At least that's what one of them said. They think they're rebuilding, taking back resources, but really they're just raiders. They kill anyone who won't join them. Take everything. They have a base somewhere. I don't know where." "How many?" "I saw maybe 30. Could be more. 30 armed, organized people. That was a problem. If they came through this area, if they decided Kenneth's house looked promising. They heading this way?" "They were heading west yesterday. I don't know if they'll come back." I hoped they wouldn't. Beth stayed. Day 373, day 374. She was getting stronger, moving around more, helping with small tasks. She fed the chickens. She helped me haul water. She didn't ask questions about my supplies or my setup. She just existed in the space quietly. On day 375, she asked about the marks on the wall. "Calendar," I said. "Each mark is a day." She counted them silently. 375 days. You've been counting the whole time. Gives structure, gives purpose. What happens when you run out of wall? I'll find more wall. She almost smiled. Optimistic. practical. That night we heard the trucks again. Both of us froze. The engines were close, maybe 2 streets over. We could hear men shouting. We could hear doors being kicked in. We could hear gunfire. Single shots. Executions, maybe. Beth went pale. "They're searching the area. Stay quiet. Stay down." We moved to the basement, and I brought the shotgun. We sat in the dark listening. The sounds got closer. 1 street over now. I could hear them ransacking houses, breaking things, laughing. Then they were on our street. I heard them at the house next door. Heard them breaking in. Heard them inside. Heard them leave. Heard them at the house across the street. Same thing. Then footsteps on Kenneth's porch. Beth grabbed my arm. I could feel her shaking. I put my finger to my lips. Silence. Someone tried the door, rattled the handle, knocked, heavy fist on wood. "Anyone in there?" Male voice. Rough. Silence. "Looks locked down pretty good," another voice said. "Could be something worth taking." "Break it down?" "Nah, too much effort. We got enough already. Mark it and we'll come back if we need to." Footsteps leaving. A spray can sound. When they were marking the door. I heard them move to the next house. Heard the sounds fade. Heard the trucks start up again. Heard them drive away. We stayed in the basement for another hour. Then I went up to check. Looked through the peephole. The street was empty. I opened the door a crack. There was a red X spray painted on the door. Large, bright. They marked it. They'd be back. I closed the door, locked it. Looked at Beth. "We have a problem," I said. Day 376 we spent planning. The X on the door changed everything. They'd be back. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. But they'd be back. "We could leave," Beth said. "Find somewhere else. This place is secure. I know it. I've fortified it. Starting over somewhere else is a huge risk. Staying here when they know about it is also a risk." She was right. I hated that she was right. "What did your group do?" I asked. "When the Reclamation came for you?" "We fought. We lost. They had more weapons, more people, better training." She touched her bandaged side. "Fighting them head on doesn't work. So we hide. We make it look abandoned. The X says otherwise. They marked it because it looks secure. They'll want to see what's inside." I thought about it. Then we give them a reason to leave it alone. Like what? Make it look dangerous. Make it look not worth the effort. We spent the day setting it up. I took some of the infected I'd killed months ago. Bodies I'd buried in the backyard. I dug up 3 of them, dragged them to the front yard. Positioned them like they'd been shot trying to get to the house. Put bullet holes in them with the Glock, made it look like there had been a fight here, like someone had defended this place and left. We scattered empty shell casings in the yard. We broke windows on the first floor from the inside to make it look like infected had gotten in. We left the front door slightly ajar. Not open, just cracked, like someone left in a hurry. Inside we staged it, knocked over furniture, scattered empty cans, made it look ransacked, made it look like someone already took everything valuable. Then we moved everything that mattered to the basement, all the food, all the water, all the weapons. We sealed the basement door behind a false wall I built from loose boards and drywall, made it look like just part of the wall, and you'd have to know to look for it. We created a second position in the attic. Supplies there too, water, food, weapons. A rope ladder out the attic vent in case we needed to run. 2 positions, 2 chances. It took all day. By nightfall we were exhausted. We sat in the basement eating cold beans from a can. "Think it'll work?" Beth asked. "I don't know. Maybe they'll see the bodies and the damage and think someone already hit this place. Maybe they'll see through it. Yeah, maybe. We were quiet for a while. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "You don't know me. I'm a liability. You could have turned me away." I thought about that. I don't know. Maybe I'm tired of being alone. Maybe I saw someone who needed help and I couldn't walk away. Maybe I'm getting soft in my old age. You're not old. 52. Oh, that's old for this world. I'm 33. That's old too, apparently. She set down her empty can. Everyone I knew is gone. My family, my friends, the people from my group, everyone. You're the first person who's helped me in months. The first person who didn't want something from me. I want you to not bring trouble to my door. Besides that, I want you to heal up so you can contribute. Pull your weight. I can do that. We slept in shifts that night. Beth took first watch. I took second. We kept the lights off, kept the noise down. Waited. Day 377, the trucks came back. We were in the attic. We heard them before we saw them. 3 trucks this time. They stopped in front of Kenneth's house. 6 men got out, armed. They saw the bodies in the yard. They saw the broken windows, and they saw the cracked door. "Looks like infected got in," one said. "Or someone already looted it," said another. They approached carefully, guns up. One of them kicked the door open wider. They went inside. We could hear them moving through the rooms below. We could hear them talking. Place is trashed. Someone already hit it. Check the basement. My heart stopped. Beth looked at me. I shook my head. Stay quiet. Footsteps on the basement stairs. Then silence. Then footsteps coming back up. Just junk down there. Whoever was here took everything good. Market cleared. Let's move on. They left. I heard the trucks start up. Heard them drive away. Beth let out a breath. They bought it. For now. We stayed in the attic for another 2 hours. Then we went down. Checked the basement. The false wall was untouched. Meant they'd seen the staged area, the scattered trash, the empty shelves. They'd assumed it was already cleared. It worked. But it also meant Kenneth's house was now publicly marked as cleared. Other groups might ignore it too. Or they might check it anyway. We'd need to stay vigilant. Day 378, Beth's stitches were healing well. The wound was closing, no infection. She was moving normally now. She'd stopped wincing every time she bent over. "I should go soon," she said. "Where?" "I don't know. I can't stay here forever. You've got your routine, your system. I'm disrupting that." "You've been helpful. I've been a guest. That's different than being part of something." I didn't argue. She was right. This was my space, my survival. Adding another person changed the equation. More mouth to feed. More risk. More variables. But I also didn't want her to go. I didn't want to be alone again. "Stay through winter," I said. "You leave now, and you're walking into the coldest months with no supplies and no plan. Stay until spring. Build up some reserves. Figure out where you want to go, then go." She looked at me for a long moment. "You sure?" "No, but it's the smart play." "Okay, until spring." We shook on it. Her hand was rough, calloused, survivor's hands. Day 380, I taught Beth how to use the shotgun. We couldn't fire it. Too loud. But I showed her how to load it, how to pump it, how to aim, how to hold it so the recoil doesn't knock her on her ass. She was a quick learner. "I've never shot a gun before this," she said. "I never wanted to." Things change. Yeah. Day 385. We had our first big argument. I was checking the chickens, and I found one dead. Not killed by a predator, just dead. Old age maybe, or disease. I was examining it when Beth came outside. "We should eat that," she said. "It died of unknown causes. Could be sick. Or it could be meat. When was the last time we had real chicken? It's a risk. Everything is a risk. We cook it thoroughly, it'll be fine." I didn't want to. But she was right. Meat was meat. We plucked it, cleaned it, cooked it over a fire in the basement fireplace until it was charred. We ate it. It was tough and gamey, but it was food. We didn't get sick. Day 390. I found tracks in the snow outside the fence. Not human. Not infected. Animal. Large. I followed them with my eyes. They circled the property, came close to the chicken shed, then moved on. "Could be a dog," Beth said when I told her. "Could be a wolf or coyotes." "Wolves in Boise?" "I've seen deer. I've seen raccoons. Why not wolves?" We reinforced the chicken shed that night, added extra boards, made sure the door was secure. Day 400, I realized I'd stopped marking the calendar. I'd missed 5 days. I went back and added the marks, but I didn't remember what happened on those days. They'd blurred together. That scared me. When you stop marking days, you stop caring about time. When you stop caring about time, you stop caring about survival. I made a rule. Calendar gets marked every morning, no exceptions. Day 407, it snowed again. Heavy snow. 2 feet. The infected slowed to almost nothing. I watched one trying to walk through the drifts. It took 10 minutes to go 20 feet. Then it fell and couldn't get back up. It just laid there moving its arms and legs uselessly like an overturned beetle. The snow was beautiful. Quiet. It covered everything. The bodies, the trash, the decay. For a moment, the world looked clean. Beth and I built a snowman in the backyard. I don't know why. It seemed important. She made the head. I made the body. We used rocks for eyes and a carrot from the garden for a nose. We stood back and looked at it. "Looks stupid," she said. "Yeah. I love it." We went inside and drank hot water with honey, and it felt like normal life for maybe 10 minutes. Day 412, I heard a child crying. It was night. I was on watch. Beth was asleep, and I heard it coming from outside, high-pitched, desperate, a child crying for help. I moved to the window, looked out. I couldn't see anything, just darkness. The crying continued. "Mommy, Mommy, please." My chest tightened. Some kid was out there, lost, scared. I reached for the door. My hand was on the lock when Beth grabbed my wrist. "Don't," she whispered. "There's a kid out there." "No, there's not. I can hear it. So can I. It's a trap." I looked at her. "What?" "The Reclamation. One of their tricks. They use recordings. Kids crying, women screaming, anything to get you to open the door. Then they rush you." The crying continued. Same phrase, same rhythm, same tone. "Mommy, Mommy, please, Mommy, Mommy, please." She was right. It was looped. A recording. I let go of the door. We stood there listening, and the crying went on for 20 minutes. Then it stopped. I heard footsteps leaving, heard low voices discussing something. Then silence. "They're testing houses," Beth said, "seeing who responds. They could come back. They will come back." We didn't sleep the rest of the night. Day 413, we heard the trucks again. Different location this time. South of us. More gunfire, more shouting. The Reclamation was expanding their territory. Beth and I talked about options. Stay, leave, fight, hide. Every option had risks. "We could try to find other survivors," she said. "Strength in numbers. Or more people to feed, more mouths, more conflicts." "You really want to die alone?" "I want to not die. She didn't have a response to that. Day 420, I saw something weird when I was on the roof, checking the drainage. I looked east toward the school and I saw movement. Not infected movement, coordinated movement. I grabbed Kenneth's binoculars. There were people on the school roof, 5 of them. They'd built something up there. Looked like a barricade, a fortification. They were setting up some kind of equipment. Antenna, maybe. Radio equipment. A group. Organized. Secure position. I watched them for an hour. They worked efficiently. No wasted movement. Military, maybe? Or experienced survivors. I didn't tell Beth. Not yet. I wanted to think about it first. Day 421. I went back to the roof. The people were still there. I watched them with the binoculars. They had supplies. I saw them unloading boxes. I saw them setting up solar panels. They were establishing a long-term position. And one of them saw me. I don't know how. Maybe glint off the binoculars. But he looked right at me, raised a hand, waved. I didn't wave back. I went back inside. There's a group at the school, I told Beth. She went tense. The Reclamation? I don't think so. Different vibe. They're building, not raiding. How many? 5 that I saw. Could be more inside. You want to make contact? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Could be allies. Could be enemies. We let it sit. Day 425, there was a knock on our door. Not pounding, not breaking. A polite knock. 3 times. Beth and I looked at each other. I grabbed the shotgun. She grabbed the Glock. We moved to positions. Another knock. Hello? Male voice. Calm. My name is Aaron. I'm from the school. I saw you on the roof a few days ago. I'm alone. I just want to talk. I didn't respond. I'm going to leave something on your porch, he said. Then I'm going to walk away. You can take it or not. Your choice. Footsteps. Leaving. Fading. I waited 10 minutes. Then I cracked the door. There was a box on the porch. Cardboard. I pulled it inside quickly, opened it. Medical supplies. Real ones. Antibiotics, bandages, antiseptic, pain pills. At the bottom was a note written in neat handwriting. We're not raiders. We're trying to build something sustainable. If you want to talk, hang a white cloth from your roof. We'll send someone. No obligations. Aaron. I showed Beth. She read it, looked at me. Could be legit, she said. Could be bait. They gave us antibiotics. That's not nothing. They want something in return. Maybe. Or maybe they're just trying to connect with other survivors. I put the box in the basement. Didn't hang the cloth. Not yet. Day 430, I saw Aaron again. He was in the street with one other person. They were clearing infected. Quiet kills. Knives. Efficiency. They weren't raiding. They weren't taking supplies. They were just clearing the area, making it safer. I watched them work. They killed 6 infected in 20 minutes. Then they left. Professional, organized. That night I told Beth, I think I want to make contact. Yeah? Yeah, but carefully. Day 431, I hung a white cloth from the roof. An old t-shirt, tied to the chimney. Within 2 hours, Aaron was back. Same polite knock. It's Aaron, he said. I'm alone. Can we talk? I opened the door 6 inches. Shotgun visible. Aaron was maybe 40. Average height, lean, wearing practical clothes. He had a pistol on his hip, but his hands were empty and visible. Gordon? He said. How do you know my name? Lucky guess. You look like a Gordon. He smiled. Friendly, not threatening. Can I come in? No. Fair enough. Can I sit on the porch? I thought about it. Fine. He sat down on the top step. I stayed in the doorway. Beth was inside with the Glock pointed at the door in case this went wrong. We've been watching the area, Aaron said, trying to figure out who's still alive, who's hostile, who might be willing to work together. Work together how? Sharing resources, information, defense. The Reclamation is expanding. They're going to hit every house in this area eventually. Alone, we're vulnerable. Together we have a chance. I've survived a year alone. I'm not saying you haven't. I'm saying the next year might be harder. He had a point. What do you want from me? I asked. Nothing immediate, just communication. We have a radio. We're setting up a network. Other survivor groups. We share information about reclamation movements, about supply locations, about threats. We help each other. And in return, you help us. If we're under attack and you can assist, you assist. If we find supplies we can't use, we trade. It's mutual survival. Who else is in this network? 3 other groups, about 20 people total, all vetted, all trustworthy. How do I know you're trustworthy? You don't. That's the risk. But we gave you medicine. We're not asking you to leave your position or join our group. Just communicate. Share information. That's all. I considered it. I'll think about it. That's all I ask. He stood up. I'll come back in a week. You can give me an answer then. He walked away. Calm. No pressure. I closed the door. What do you think? I asked Beth. I think we need allies. I think the Reclamation is going to keep growing. I think going it alone worked for a year, but might not work forever. You trust him? Not yet. But I want to. Day 438, Aaron came back. I gave him my answer. I'm in, conditionally. I keep my position. I keep my autonomy. I help when I can, but I don't take orders. Understood, Aaron said. He handed me a radio. Small, battery-powered. Channel 7. We do a check-in every 3 days at noon. Share information. You don't have to participate every time. Just listen. When you're ready to contribute, you contribute. I took the radio. Welcome to the network, he said. He left. That night I turned on the radio. Tuned to Channel 7. Listened. Static at first. Then voices. This is Hawk's Nest. All clear today. No reclamation activity in our sector. Copy Hawk's Nest. This is Riverside. We spotted a convoy moving south on Federal. 3 trucks, armed. Copy Riverside. Sanctuary, you copy? Sanctuary copies. We'll watch for them. Professional, organized, real. I set the radio down. Looked at Beth. We're part of something now, she said. Yeah. For the first time in a year, I wasn't completely alone. Day 445, I participated in my first radio check-in. This is Gordon, North End near Riddenbaugh. I've got eyes on a red X-marked house. Reclamation marked it but moved on. Appears they're focusing on the west side currently. Copy Gordon. This is Aaron at Sanctuary. Thanks for the intel. Anyone else seeing reclamation movement? 2 other voices reported in. No sightings. Things were quiet. It felt good. Contributing. Being part of something. Beth listened to the check-ins with me. She didn't talk on the radio. She wasn't ready for that yet. But she listened. Day 453, the Reclamation hit Hawk's Nest. We heard it on the radio. Panicked voices. Gunfire in the background. Sanctuary, this is Hawk's Nest. We are under attack. Multiple trucks. Heavy weapons. We need... The transmission cut off. Aaron's voice came on. Steady. Calm. All units, this is Sanctuary. Hawk's Nest is under assault. Do not attempt to intervene. I repeat, do not intervene. Hold your positions. Wait for my signal. We listened. We heard nothing else from Hawk's Nest. 3 hours later, Aaron came back on. Hawk's Nest is lost. 3 confirmed dead, 2 captured, 1 escaped and is en route to sanctuary. Reclamation is expanding faster than anticipated. All units increase security measures. Aaron out. Beth looked at me. That could have been us. I know. Day 460, we had our first network meeting. Aaron organized it. Neutral location. Abandoned fire station 2 miles south. We'd all arrive separately. Stay armed. Stay cautious. Beth and I debated going. It could be a trap, I said. It could be. But if we're going to be part of this network, we need to meet them eventually. See who we're working with. She was right. We went. We brought both guns. We brought a knife. But we moved at dawn when the infected were slow. The fire station was secure. Aaron had scouted it. There were 5 of us total. Aaron and 2 people from Sanctuary. A woman named Rita from Riverside, and me and Beth. We sat in a circle in the garage bay. Someone had brought coffee. Real coffee. I almost cried when I smelled it. Aaron started. Thank you all for coming. I know trust is hard, but we're stronger together. Let's go around. Introduce yourselves. Share your setup. Be honest about what you can contribute. Rita went first. She was maybe 60. Gray hair, tough as nails. She'd been a nurse before. She was holed up in an apartment building near the river. She had medical knowledge. She had supplies. She had a clear line of sight for miles. Next was a young guy named Tyler, early 20s. He was with Aaron at Sanctuary. Former Army, new weapons, new tactics. He looked nervous, but competent. Then a woman named Jocelyn, also with Aaron. She'd been an engineer. She was working on long-term solutions, water purification, power generation, sustainable food. Then me. Gordon, 52, IT guy before, prepper. I've got a fortified position, good supplies. 1 year of survival experience. I can contribute information. I can contribute defense if needed. Then Beth. Beth, 33. I was a teacher. I'm staying with Gordon. I'm recovering from an injury, but I'm functional. I can help however needed. Aaron nodded. Good. Here's where we stand. The Reclamation has at least 40 members now. Maybe more. They're organized. They're aggressive. They're expanding. Hawk's Nest is gone. We need to be smarter. And we need to coordinate. Coordinate how? Rita asked. Intelligence sharing. We map their movements. We predict their targets. We avoid engagement when possible. We prepare defensive positions when not. And if they come for sanctuary? Tyler asked. We defend. Together. How? I said. We're scattered. If they hit you, we can't get there fast enough to help. We can if we prepare. We set up fallback positions, supply caches, escape routes. We make plans. It made sense. Military sense. We spent 4 hours planning, mapping the area, identifying resources, establishing communication protocols. It was the most organized conversation I'd had in over a year. When we left, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Day 470. Beth started coughing. At first, it was just a tickle. Irritation. But by day 472, she was coughing hard, deep, wet. I checked her temperature. She had a fever. Not high, but present. I'm fine, she said. You're not fine. It's just a cold. You need rest. She didn't argue. She went to bed. I brought her water. I brought her soup made from canned vegetables. I gave her some of the antibiotics Aaron had left. Day 475, she was worse. The cough was rattling. She was sweating through the blankets. Her temperature was higher. I got on the radio. Aaron, this is Gordon. I need medical advice. Over. Static. Then Aaron's voice. Copy, Gordon. What's the situation? Beth is sick. Fever. Bad cough. I gave her antibiotics. It's not helping. How long has she been symptomatic? 5 days. Could be pneumonia. Could be bronchitis. Could be flu. She need to stay warm. Stay hydrated. If the fever goes above 103, that's critical. I'll send Rita to look at her. It's a risk for Rita to move. She's a nurse. It's what she does. Expect her tomorrow. Copy. Gordon out. Rita arrived the next morning. She was cautious, professional. She examined Beth thoroughly, listened to her lungs with a stethoscope she'd brought, checked her eyes, checked her throat. Bronchitis, Rita said. Possibly early pneumonia. She needs rest, fluids. Keep her warm. The antibiotics should help, but it'll take time. How long? Week, maybe 2. If she gets worse, you call me immediately. Understood. Rita left. I took care of Beth. I was terrified. Losing her would mean being alone again. Would mean failing to protect someone. Would mean so many things I didn't want to think about. She got worse before she got better. Day 480, her fever spiked to 104. She was delirious, talking to people who weren't there, her students, her parents. Someone named Michael. I put cold cloths on her forehead. I forced her to drink water. I stayed up all night watching her breathe. Day 481, the fever broke. She opened her eyes, focused on me. Hey, she said, voice raspy. Hey, I'm still alive. Yeah, good. She slept for 16 hours straight. When she woke up again, she was weak but lucid. The cough was still there but lighter. Rita came back on day 485. Checked Beth again. She's healing? Rita said. Keep doing what you're doing. Beth recovered slowly. By day 490, she was moving around, helping with small tasks. By day 500, she was almost back to normal. You saved my life, she said one night. You would have done the same. Would I? Yeah, I think you would. We didn't talk about it again. Day 512, we got intel on the radio. The Reclamation was planning a major raid. Multiple targets. They were going to hit the north end hard. All units prepare for possible engagement, Aaron said. Fortify positions. Stock supplies. Stay off the streets. We ride this out. Beth and I spent 2 days reinforcing Kenneth's house. We added more boards to the windows. We moved everything essential to the basement. We checked our weapons. We waited. Day 515, the raid happened. We heard it before we saw it. Engines, lots of them. Trucks moving through the streets, gunfire, explosions, shouting. Well, so they weren't being subtle. They were making a statement. We stayed in the basement, lights off, silent. The sounds got closer. We could hear them kicking in doors 2 streets over. 1 street over. Then they were on our street. I heard trucks stop, heard doors slamming, heard boots on pavement. Someone shouted, "This one's marked cleared already. Check it anyway." No. Footsteps on the porch. The door rattled. Someone pushed against it. It's barricaded from inside. So someone's in there. Or it was barricaded before it was cleared. Doesn't matter. Break it down. They started hitting the door. Heavy impacts. The barricade was holding, but it wouldn't hold forever. Beth looked at me. Her eyes were wide. I made a decision. I grabbed the shotgun. I moved to the basement stairs. I positioned myself where I had a clear line to the door. "What are you doing?" Beth whispered. "If they get in, I'm not going down without a fight." The door splintered. One more hit and it would give. Then a voice shouted, "Reclamation units, fall back. We got infected coming in from the east. Mass group, fall back to the trucks." The hitting stopped. Footsteps running, engines starting, trucks peeling away. I stayed frozen, shotgun aimed at the door. Silence. Then I heard them. The infected. Lots of them. Moving down the street. Drawn by the noise of the raid. Drawn by the engines and the shouting and the gunfire. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. They passed by the house. Some bumped against the walls. Some scratched at the windows. But they kept moving, following the sound of the trucks, where we stayed in the basement for 6 hours. When we finally came up, I looked through the peephole. The street was empty. The door was damaged, but intact. We'd survived. I got on the radio. "Aaron, this is Gordon. We're okay. They tried to breach, but infected drove them off. Over." "Copy, Gordon. Sanctuary is secure. Riverside is secure. Tyler's position was hit. He's injured but alive. We're regrouping. Aaron out." Beth sat down on the couch, put her head in her hands. "That was too close," she said. "Yeah. We can't keep doing this." "I know. But what choice did we have?" Day 520, Aaron called a network meeting. Emergency. Something big. We met at the fire station again. This time there were 7 of us. Tyler was there with his arm in a sling. Rita, Jocelyn, Aaron, and 2 new people from a group that had recently joined. And me and Beth. Aaron looked tired. Older than last time I'd seen him. "The Reclamation is becoming unsustainable," he said. "They're hitting every position. They're taking everything. They're killing people. We can't just hide anymore." "What's the alternative?" Rita asked. "We leave." Silence. "Leave where?" I asked. "North. There's a community in McCall. We've made radio contact. They're established. They have walls, farmland, power. They're taking refugees." "McCall is 100 miles away," Tyler said. 87 miles, Aaron corrected. "Through infected territory. Through reclamation territory. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's our best option." "We'd have to leave everything," one of the new people said. "We take what we can carry. We travel light, and we move fast." "How many can make the trip?" Beth asked. "All of us. If we're smart, if we're careful." I thought about it. Leaving Kenneth's house, leaving a year of preparation, leaving security. But Aaron was right. We couldn't keep hiding. Eventually, the reclamation would get us, or the infected would, or we'd run out of supplies, or we'd get sick, or injured, or old. McCall offered a future. Maybe. "I'm in," I said. Beth looked at me. "You sure?" "No, but I'm in anyway." One by one, the others agreed. We were doing this. Day 530, we started preparing. We packed supplies. We planned the route. We identified safe houses along the way. We coordinated timing. We'd leave in groups. Smaller groups attracted less attention. We'd leapfrog. One group would move to a safe point. Radio back. Next group would move. And it would take a week, maybe more. I packed light, food, water, weapons, medical supplies, a change of clothes, the radio. That was it. I looked at Kenneth's house one last time. Day 535, we left. Me and Beth, Tyler, we were the first group. We'd make it to a gas station 12 miles north. Secure it. Radio back. We moved at dawn. Quiet, careful, avoiding streets, cutting through yards and alleys. The infected were everywhere. We saw them in clusters, standing, wandering. We gave them wide berths. We stayed silent. 3 hours in, we ran into a problem. A bridge we needed to cross was blocked. Abandoned cars, bodies, infected milling around. And we go around, Tyler said. We backtracked, found another route. It added 2 miles. 6 hours in, we reached the gas station. It was clear. We secured it. I got on the radio. "Aaron, this is Gordon. We're at waypoint 1. All clear. Over. Copy, Gordon. Group 2 will move tomorrow. Hold position. Aaron out. We settled in. The gas station had been looted, but there were places to hide. We took shifts on watch. Day 536 Group 2 arrived. Aaron, Jocelyn, Rita. They'd had no problems. We moved together to waypoint 2, an abandoned farmhouse. This became the pattern. Move, secure, wait, move. Day 542, we were 60 miles in. We'd lost one person, one of the new guys. He'd been grabbed by infected during a crossing. We couldn't save him. We had to keep moving. The guilt was heavy. Day 548, we saw McCall in the distance. The community. Walls made from shipping containers, guard towers, smoke from fires. We approached carefully. We were stopped by guards, real guards with real uniforms. We're refugees, Aaron said. We made contact by radio. You said you're accepting people. The guard looked us over, counted us. 6. We'd started with 8. You're expected, he said. Welcome to New McCall. They let us in. Inside the walls it was different. There were people, living people, working, farming, building. There were children. I saw a little girl, maybe 7 years old, playing with a dog. A living dog. Beth started crying. I didn't blame her. We were processed, checked for bites, questioned about our skills, assigned housing, given food, real food, chicken, vegetables, bread, and I ate slowly, savoring it. That night, I lay in a real bed for the first time in over 500 days. Beth was in the next room, Tyler down the hall, Aaron and the others nearby. I closed my eyes. We'd made it. Day 560, I started working. Everyone works in New McCall. That's the rule. You contribute or you leave. I was assigned to the water treatment team. My prepper knowledge was useful. I knew filtration. I knew purification. I helped maintain the systems. Beth was assigned to the school. They had a school. Real classes for the kids. She taught 3rd grade again. She came back to the housing unit every day with stories about the kids, about their questions, about their resilience. It was almost normal. Day 575, I met the council. The people who ran New McCall, and there were 5 of them. Former mayor, former police chief, a doctor, an engineer, a farmer. They interviewed me, asked about my experience, about my year alone, about my preparedness background. We're always looking for people with skills, the former mayor said. Her name was Patricia. We're building something here, something sustainable. We need people who think long-term. I'm not a leader, I said. We're not asking you to lead. We're asking you to contribute your knowledge, train others, help us prepare. I agreed. Day 600, I gave my first class. Preparedness Basics. 20 people attended. I taught them about water storage, food preservation, security measures, the things I'd learned the hard way. They listened. They took notes. They asked questions. It felt good. Passing on knowledge, making sure others survived. Beth sat in on the class. She smiled at me from the back row. Day 650, there was an attack, not the Reclamation, a different group, bandits. They tried to breach the north wall. The guards repelled them. 3 bandits dead, 1 guard injured. It was over in 10 minutes. But it was a reminder. The walls weren't perfect. Safety wasn't guaranteed. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Kenneth's house, about the year I spent there, about how I'd survived alone. Could I still do that if I needed to? Day 697, Beth and I had a conversation. I want to stay, she said, in New McCall. Build a life here, whatever that means now. Yeah? Yeah, I'm tired of running, tired of just surviving. I want to live. What does that look like? I don't know. Teaching. Maybe helping build housing. Maybe gardening. Just existing. Being part of something. Sounds good. What about you? I thought about it. I don't know. I'm still figuring out how to trust this. Trust that it's real. That it'll last. It might not. But isn't it worth trying? Maybe. She took my hand. We sat there in silence. Day 730, they asked me to join the council as an advisor, not a voting member, just someone who could provide insight on preparedness and security. I said yes. It meant meetings. It meant responsibility. It meant being part of the decision-making process. It meant caring about the future again. Day 800, we got word that the Reclamation was moving north. They'd taken Boise completely. They were expanding toward McCall. The council debated. Some wanted to fortify and defend. Others wanted to evacuate further north. I argued for defense. We have walls. We have weapons. We have people who know how to fight. We can hold. For how long? Patricia asked. Long enough to make them decide we're not worth it. We voted. Defense won. Barely. Day 820, we started preparing. Reinforcing walls, stockpiling ammunition, training civilians in basic defense, digging traps outside the perimeter. It was Kenneth's house all over again, but bigger, with more people, with more at stake. Beth helped organize supply runs. She was good at logistics, good at planning. She'd changed. We both had. Day 867, the Reclamation arrived. 20 trucks, at least 60 people. Heavy weapons. They set up camp 2 miles south. We watched them from the walls. They watched us back. For 3 days, nothing happened. Just a standoff. Then they sent a representative, a woman named Carla. She came alone, unarmed. She stood outside the gates and called up. "We don't want to fight," she said. "We want to negotiate." Patricia went down with Aaron and Tyler. I watched from the wall. Carla spoke. "The Reclamation is about rebuilding. We're taking control of resources so we can establish order. Join us and you'll be protected. You'll have access to our network, our supplies. Refuse, and we'll take this place by force." "We're not interested," Patricia said. "You sure? We have 100 people now. More joining every day. You can't hold against us?" "We'll hold." Carla smiled. "We'll see." She walked away. That night they attacked. Mortars, gunfire. A coordinated assault on 3 sides. We fought back. The walls held. We had the high ground. We had preparation. They pushed hard. We lost 2 people. Killed 7 of theirs. After 3 hours, they pulled back. Day 868, they attacked again. Same pattern, same result. They couldn't breach the walls. Day 869, they changed tactics. They started a siege. Cut off our water source. Cut off exit routes. They were trying to starve us out. We had supplies for maybe 2 months. After that, we'd be in trouble. The council met every day, debating options. We could try to break the siege. We could try to negotiate. We could try to wait them out. I suggested a 4th option. We hit them first, hard, a night raid, take out their supplies, and make them decide we're too costly. "That's suicide," someone said. "It's a risk, but so is sitting here." We debated for hours. Finally, Patricia agreed. "Gordon will lead the raid. Volunteers only." 10 people volunteered. Me, Tyler, Aaron, 7 others, including Beth. "You don't have to do this," I told her. "Yes, I do. We're in this together." Day 870, we launched the raid. Midnight. We went over the wall quietly, moved through the dark. The infected were scattered, but we avoided them. The Reclamation camp was lit with fires. Guards posted but complacent. They thought they had us trapped. We split into 3 teams, one for the vehicle depot, one for the supply tent, one for Overwatch. I was on the supply team. We moved in fast, through incendiaries. The tent went up. Screaming. Chaos. Min Tyler's team hit the vehicles. Molotovs. 3 trucks burning before they could react. Gunfire. We ran. Beth was hit in the leg. Not bad, but she couldn't run. I carried her. Aaron covered us. We made it back to the walls. The raid worked. They'd lost 1/3 of their supplies. Their morale was broken. Day 871, they withdrew. Packed up, moved south. We'd won. The cost was 3 dead, 5 injured, including Beth. But we'd won. Day 880, Beth was healing. Rita said the bullet had gone through clean, no major damage. She'd walk with a limp for a while, but she'd be okay. We did it, she said. Yeah. Is it over? For now. We both knew it wouldn't be over. Not really. The Reclamation was still out there. Other groups too. The infected. The world was still broken. But we had this. A new McCall. Walls. People. A chance. Day 900 at the council offered me a permanent position, not just advisor, full member. I accepted. I was part of the leadership now, part of the future, whatever that meant. Beth and I moved into better housing. 2 rooms, a window with actual glass. We planted herbs in pots on the windowsill. It was strange, having a space that felt like home. Day 1000, I marked the date on a new calendar. 1000 days since the world ended. I'd survived a year alone, survived the journey north, survived the siege, survived. Beth made me a cake. Real cake. Flour and eggs and sugar from the community stores. It was small, it was lopsided, it was perfect. We shared it with Aaron and Tyler and Rita. We sat around a table and ate and talked and laughed. For a moment I forgot about the infected, then about the Reclamation, about everything outside the walls. For a moment it was just people being people. Day 1050 I stopped marking days. Not because I stopped caring, but because days didn't matter the same way anymore. The future mattered. Planning mattered. Building mattered. I was teaching classes twice a week. I was on the council. I was helping design expansion plans for the community. I was living. Beth was teaching full-time. She'd started a library. Books salvaged from runs. She organized them, cataloged them, let kids check them out. She was happy, really happy. We'd talked sometimes about before, about Boise, about the first days, about Kenneth's house. Do you miss it? She asked once. The house? Being alone, having control, not being responsible for others. I thought about it. Sometimes. Oh, but this is better. Yeah? Yeah. She kissed me. First time. Soft, tentative. I kissed her back. We didn't talk about what it meant. We just let it be. Day 1200-something changed. I don't know what. But I woke up one morning and Beth was in the kitchen making coffee and the sun was coming through the window and I realized something. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was living. The infected were still out there. The Reclamation was still a threat. The world was still broken. But inside these walls we had something. Community, purpose, hope. I walked over to Beth, put my arms around her. She leaned into me. Morning, she said. Morning. We stood there. Coffee brewing, sun rising, the sounds of the community waking up outside. 1,200 days, give or take. I'd made it. We'd made it. Again, and for the first time in over 3 years, I let myself believe we might actually have a future. Whatever that looked like. We'd figure it out. Together. Thanks for watching, guys. I will be back with another story.